Good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry for coming late. I think I'm like 4 minutes late here. So, good evening. So, tonight we'll be focusing on Python. I think I've shared a link to download and install Python on your laptop. I believe everybody has done that before now. So I'm going to be opening my own Anaconda here and just like introducing us to like basics of Python, what you need to what you need to know and some of the basics, and I'll also be writing like basic code. So after you're familiar with some of these basics, we can move to learning the libraries in Python and how you can use those library to work on data set, just like the way we've used Microsoft Excel to work on data, we've used Power BI to work on data. We'll also be using Python as well to do the same. So but before you can use it, you have to understand the basics. So I will be sharing my screen for and now I'm going to be showing you some of them. So if you want to code along, you can also do the same. And if you just want to learn and just rewatch the video later, and then you can practice. So I'm going to let me just cancel this. So the software I asked us to download is Anaconda, but inside Anaconda, the software that we'll be making use of is the software that we'll be making use of is Jupyter Notebook. So we'll be making use of Jupyter Notebook from Anaconda. So if okay, let me just start by try to opening Anaconda with us, and also I'm going to so you can just go to your window and just search for it. This is it here. So I'm going to click on this. I believe everybody has downloaded it because I already shared the videos to do that. So the videos are going to guide you on how to go about that. So once you just click on it, it's going to show. So I'm waiting for it to load. So it's already loading here. So it's already loading. So I believe everybody can see my screen. So this is what is going to show to us. But the only thing that we need here is this Jupyter notebook. So if I click on this launch, it's going to show me okay, I can click on launch here because this Anaconda has a lot of software, right? But clicking on this launch is going to open the software, and the software is like a web based software, but it's not a software that you need internet connection, but it's just like it's going to display on a web a it's going to is a web software. So this is the interface here. So if I want to write code, I can just click on new, then I'm going to click on notebook, and after clicking on that, it's going to display something like this. So I can easily write okay, print hello world, and it's going to print it for me. So and another ways of accessing this is by just accessing Jupyter notebook itself. So instead of just opening this Anaconda, this big software, so I want to quit it, and okay, I want to quit it. So I'm just going to access Jupyter Notebook alone. So I'm just going to type Jupyter Notebook, then I will just click on it. I'm still waiting for it to load. So it's already loading. So this is it here. So I can also click on new notebooks and just try to, I can just start writing my code after it display. So I can just say okay. So I will just quickly write some lines of code there. Then I'll go back to the notes that I want to use for tonight's class. So I can just write something, enter. Okay, I can just use this print. So I'm just going to, so we can see now that after it asks of my name, now it's able to output this, hello Abayomi, how are you? So this is just like examples of writing code using Python. So now I'm going to cancel this and just try to go back to my, I already have like, so I have a document I want to use for tonight's class. So this is like the document I'm going to be using for tonight's class. And in this document, so inside this document, there are just like I have some codes. I also have some bit of like notes that I can just use to explain what I'm trying to 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 explain to us. So and I believe this is bigger enough for us to see. So what is programming? Especially those that this is their first times of like being introduced to programming language. What is programming? And programming is just like a way to instruct the computer to perform various tasks. So what programming means is just like a way you instruct your computer to perform some various functions because uh your computer, although there's a level to it, there are some aspect of computer that you can just instruct without writing a program, but there are some parts that you can't instruct it to do to perform those tasks without you writing a code. So basically programming is just like a ways of instructing your computer to perform a various tasks. Then out of this programming we have different types of programming language, different types of, I think, should I call it category? We have the one of low level, we have the one of high level, and out of, we have like, in terms of low level, we have languages like Java, we have like C++, and in terms of high level, we have JavaScript, and we also have Python as examples of high level programming language. And this Python is the one that we will be focusing for this like for our data analysis journey, because you can either learn Python or learn R programming. Two of them are really used for data analysis, but Python is more common. So you tend to hear Python the most, like in the field of data science and data analysis. So what is Python programming? Python is high level general purpose programming language. Its design philosophy emphasizes code readability with the use of significant indentation. Python is dynamically typed and garbage collector. So it supports multiple programming paradigms. So we have like in terms of structured, in terms of object oriented, in terms of functions. So this is like Python is a high level programming language, and basically we they always like everybody always assume that is the simplest programming language, because it's like just like English language, because it's not comparing to, although if this is the first time of learning programming, a lot of people that this is their first time, they always think that it's difficult. But if it's not your first time of learning, it is not like compared to other language are more difficult than Python programming language. And it's like it supports multiple programming paradigms, just like structure, object oriented, functional, and I think that's just like three parts: function, structure, and object oriented programming. So then we also have applications of this Python programming. That is, when you learn it, there are so many things you can use it for. You can use it for web development, you can use it for game development, you can use it for machine learning and artificial intelligence, you can use it for data science and data visualization, you can use it for desktop GUI, you can use it for web scraping, you can use it for business application, and you can also use it for audios and video application, you can use it for card application, you can also use it for embedded application. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, when you understand this language, apart from your data analysis or data science, there are still other ways that you can use this Python programming language. And if you master it well, you can tend to switch to machine learning, be a machine learning engineer or AI engineer or data analyst or data scientist with this single programming language, if you are very good at it. So those are just like basic applications of Python programming language. And the first concept we'll be considering in Python is Python variable. So what is Python variable? So variables are containers for storing data value. So anytime they are talking about variable in Python, it shows that it's just like a container, just like imagine our normal container, you store something inside of it, right? So that's how this variable also works. It allow you to store some certain data value inside of it, and when you want to use or you want those data value to be out, you have to print the variable name. And it also has some rules and regulation that guide it, because if the rules and regulation is not followed closely, it's going to result to an error. So just like this, for example, a equals to Python, b equals to 40.7, x equals to 2, y equals to 4. So a here is called a variable name, b here is called a variable name, x here is called a variable name, then y here is also called a variable name. And this equals to that is used to assign all these data value to them. This equals to is called assignment operator, and all these are called data value. This Python 40.724, they are called data value, and to they are being assigned to variable name. So these are just like examples of variable name: a, b, x, and y. And you can see now we want to get this value assigned to all these variable name. And the way we can do it is by printing them, just like the way we want to do here. Print is a keyword used to output your code. So we want to output them, we want to see what is inside A, what has been stored to B, what has been stored to X, and what has been stored to Y. So if I run this now, it's going to give me the result of everything. Just like you can see, we have Python, we have 40.7, we have 2, we have 4. So these are just like these are ways of outputting your variable. And when working with the variable also has some rules and regulations that you need to follow, because if you don't follow them, it's going to result to an error. So variable name must start with a letter or the underscore character. A variable name cannot start with a number. So if your variable name starts with a number, it's going to result to an error. A variable name can only contain alphanumeric character, so and underscore. Variable names are case sensitive, that is age. So if you are using age small letter, you have to be consis ten t, and if you are using age capital letter, you also need to be consis ten t. Den if you are using all of them to be upper case, you also need to be consis ten t. So a variable can have a short name like X and Y, or more descriptive name just like age, cow name, and total volume. So I will be giving some, like I will just be showing some of the examples of all this. So variable name must start with a letter, just like this age is a variable name and we are trying to assign 4 to it. So if you are trying to output 4, you have to print age, and this is it. So age here serve as a variable name. So here as well, you can see that we have this age here, which is capital letter AGE, which is equals to this 70. But when we are trying to print this age, instead of giving us 70, it's giving us 4, because it's not recognizing this age and age to be the same. Although they are both pronounced the same way, but just because one has a capital letter and the other has like small letter, it's not going to work. It's just only going to work with the one uh the one that have been assigned initially. So we also have like your name, like your variable name can be descriptive, just like in this scenario, name of student, which is equals to Victor. Then we want to print names of students. So if I run this, and you see that the result here is Victor. So name underscore so name underscore of underscore student equals to Victor. Then we are trying to print the name of the student, and you can see that it's Victor. And you will see here that this variable name is more descriptive, like that is trying to show what exactly we are trying to do. So like the first rule is start with letter, and I've tried to explain that by using age. So the second one is variable name cannot start with a number. So you can't start a variable name with number, just like if I said 20, or let me just say 30 equals to. So, and if I run it, it's just going to tell me that syntax error, cannot assign to literal here. Maybe you meant instead of, like it's just trying to suggest something for me, like trying to let me know that okay, this I cannot assign, like I can't make a number to be my variable name. So that's just the rule, and to avoid you from just getting error messages. So A variable name can only contain alphanumeric. So what that means, so alphanumeric is just like we are working with both numbers and text, and the way we do it is this. Let me give example. I can say number one equals to, then number two equals to 40. So now we can see here that this is just like a variable name that has alphanumeric, that is, it has both number and it also has text. So in this example, it's not going to bring error messages because we've started it with text and followed by a number. But if you start this by using number then followed by text, it's not going to work. So variable names are case sensitive. I think this is the perfect example. Using age equals to 4, then print age, then we are going to see that this age and age, they are the same, but their case are very very different. So we have like small letter a starting this age, while this one is starting the capital letter. So that's just like rules and laws of uh so here I can easily print this out. Okay, I think there is a spelling error here. So we can see here that we've successfully added this. I think the reason why it's showing error is my I'm spelling them incorrectly. So we can also try many value to a variable name, just like a comma b comma c equals to 40 comma 30 comma 20. And if I'm printing it, I'm going to print it just like this. I can do it one after the other and I can do them together. And you can see we are already having like, okay, a to be 40, b to be 30, then c to be 20. Then we can also do this the same for text. This is in form of number, so outputting multiple variable, just like we have item one equals to book, item three equals to pen, item two equals to pen, then item three equals to bag. So these are just like me trying to assign them to all these variable name. So item one to three is a variable name, and I want to print everything together on the line. So we can just use, so this item one two three, they are variable name, and these are our value or data value assigned to them, and I want them to just be on a straight line. So we use plus or comma to make them to be on a straight line. And what this plus means is assignment operator. So the equals to is assignment operator, while the plus here is called concatenation. Sorry. So we use this addition to concatenate two string. So basically what this plus sign or this comma is representing, they call it concatenation. So we are using it to concatenate all these items. So item one, I want to add item one to two, I want to add two to three. So if I run this, we are going to see that now we can see down here, we see book, pen and bag, then also book, pen and bag. So because we've used this plus sign and this comma sign to concatenate this item one, two and three. So we also have Python built-in data types. So in programming, data type is an important concept variable that can store data of different types, and different types can do different things. So built-in data type is also very important, and we have some of this category here. So anytime you are working with text, that's like a string value, and it is here right here. So anytime you are working or talking about text, we are talking about string data type. Then the numeric type, we have integer, we have float, we have complex, and also the sequence type, we have list, tuples and range. And in the category of mapping, we have dictionary, set type, we have sets, then we have boolean, in which is just true or false. So that's just like data types in Python. So we also have like some of these example that we can use and just try to check them one after the other. So let me try to. So now name equals to Emmanuel here, and this name, don't forget, this name is called variable name. This equals to is called assignment operator, then this Emmanuel is just like a data value, and also school is OAU, course of study is Python. So if I want to output them one after the other, I can just print name, print school, then print course of study. Then also to check the data type that they belong to, but we already know that text belong to a string data type. So if I just want to run this, so we can see here that it, after printing Emmanuel, is able to print that okay, the class of this is str, and you can see for everything here, you can easily see uh we can easily see their data type. Just like Emmanuel, we can see that is string. We can see OAU, class is string. We can see Python, the class is also string. So we also have the numeric type as well. So under the numeric type, we have integer, we have float, we have complex. And what is integer? Integer is just like a number without a decimal point, while the float is like a number with a decimal point, and complex number is just like numbers that have I or J. So these are just like some of the example. So we have num2 equals to 49.5. That is, once it has a decimal point, we are going to regard it as float, while the one without decimal, which is like so we can see here that any number that num1 to be 34 and the class is integer. We have num2 to be 49.5, um 49.5, and the class is float. And we also have 3 plus 5j, which is the class is complex. So one comma two comma three comma, so this is just like this number inside this square bracket is called list. And it's not always limited to number alone. We can also add like some text to it, just like now names equals to miracle, oluwaseun, victor, emmanuel, and the likes. So you can you can mix it, like that is numbers and text, and then you can also separate them one after the other. So here, if I print this, we can see that we have one to this, then we also have this. So these are just like basic list data type. But most importantly, just note anything inside a square bracket is called a list data type. So we also have tuple. So we work with the number, what differentiates them is when we are working with tuple, tuple is surrounded with parentheses, while list is just only for square bracket. And anything inside the list can be changed. So anything inside the list can be changed, while anything inside this tuple cannot be changed. So most of the time they call it mutable or immutable. So for the tuple here, we only have like it's what shows that this particular item is tuple is by seeing a parenthesis. So anything inside a square bracket is called list, while anything inside in parenthesis is called tuple. So and anything inside this tuple, inside this parenthesis, cannot be changed. So cannot be changed, while elements here, just like this miracle, oluwaseun, victor, they can easily be changed or removed from list. So we also have range as well. We also have range, and range is also like one of the example. And this range is, so range is also a data type, just like examples of, but not completely, like it's not as common as list, tuples, and dictionary. So we can see here, like I'm trying to provide the range between 1 to 20, which is like print r, then print type r, just to try to see what the data type that it belong to. And you can see here that this belong to range. And for us to really see what is going on in this range, we can use loop to iterate it. So we use for I in range 1 comma 20. So if I try to run this, it's just going to show me 1 to 19. So what I'm trying to achieve here is like try to get the range of value between 1 and 20, and this is it here. So we also have set. Set is anything inside the curly braces. It's also important. Set, and one of the advantage of set is set does not accommodate duplicates. So it's just only going to represent the unique value. If I try to run this now, if I try to run it, you will see that here we have 1,2,3,4,4,4,4. But now it has removed the repeated value by giving us just like the unique value 1,2, 3 and 4. Then we have Victor Aderonke. So we also have dictionary. I think okay, I will stop here so that we can start conditional statement in the next class. So I'm just going to use the remaining time to ask question. So dictionary is also one of the data types that is called a mapping data type, and considering other programming language, they call it hash table in some programming language, and it's just like a JSON format as well. So we have D equals to, okay, name. This name is called key in dictionary, while this name is called value. So we have key and value, and is always separated with column. So we have name, then column, then my name here. We also have age, then column, and put this 25. We also have this key and separated with column. So you can see here that column also differentiate this, and column also differentiate this. So if I try to run this, I'm going to see name, and this name is called key, this is called value, and same just like the others. And you can see boolean is just like true or false, and is always used to check if a condition is right or a condition is wrong. So if I try to run this, you can see e said print 2 equals to 2. So once 2 and 2 are the same, it's going to show true. Why this, for example, print 2 greater than 3. So if I run this, you can see that 2 is not greater than 3. And then we can also do for like print 4 less than 5. If that is true, it's going to tell us that it's true. So true 4 is less than 4 is less than 5. So we are going to continue the conditional statement so that I won't be too fast, so that we can grab the basics, so that when we start working with real data sets, using all this, bringing all this basic together, it will not be really really new to us. So if we have question, you can just try to ask now. So we continue with so somebody said this python is looking so different. So don't be scared with it. It's something that we are still going to. So this is just like this first class, especially those that they are completely new. So just be patient. It's something that you're still going to get. So you're still going to get it. You're still going to understand it. So we are going to the next tomorrow. My explanation is going to start from conditional statement. You're going to see how to use if statement, also how to use loop, then function. I think lastly we are going to do object oriented programming. So once we are done with that, we'll be able to move to the use of Python library, just like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and Seaborn. And we are going to work on a real data set, on putting them together. So please sir, this Python class, we don't need to rush it. Oh, yeah, I'm not rushing it. That's why I have to stop from where I stopped. If I want to rush it, I would have touched almost everything. So I'm still trying to do the basics here. So I'm not rushing it. That's why I have to stop here, because I know that is a lot of information. So I can leave us to go and digest this then before tomorrow. Yes, you can use VS Code, but for me I would prefer to use this. So VS Code for someone that is just starting coding is not advisable, because even in your VS Code we still need to install ex ten sion for writing it, especially if you want to use Jupyter notebook in VS Code. I use all of them, but this is still user friendly, especially when you now want to work with data. You have to import data. There's a lot to you using VS Code. VS Code is mostly used for can we use VS Code instead of, that's what I'm trying to say. VS Code is mostly used for software development, people writing web, people doing mobile. If you want to do data science in okay if you want to do data analysis in VS Code, there's a lot of stress regarding it. It's something that I've used before. So this is the best for you to work on the data. So because if even if when you are while you are using your VS Code, you still need to install the ex ten sion of Jupyter notebook. So there's no point in you still trying to install the ex ten sion when you already have a Jupyter notebook that can give you the space of doing everything that you want to do. Okay, for those that send me message regarding the project, I'm going to answer you, but it may not be tonight. I'm not sure, maybe it's going to be tonight. But I'm going to reply all my DMs. I'm going to reply them. But it may not be tonight, maybe tomorrow. And if anybody is on the call that prefer VS Code, you can use your VS Code. But this is what I'm going to use for taking the class. This is the software I'm going to use, and I can say it's still the best, especially for data analysis. It's only if you want to do data science I can't recommend VS Code, because you may need to be building some models. You may want to embed like you need some software background as well, like especially in terms of implementing your AI models in a web, or you are just trying to build a framework using a frameworks like I said. But if in terms of you doing proper visualization, proper data cleaning, Jupyter notebook is still the number one, the one I'm using there. That's it. This person asking what software do we need, and I believe that is because maybe you are not checking the group. Since last week I've sent a video that will guide us step by steps on how to download the software that we'll be using today, and the video is there on the group. I share a video that, like a YouTube video, that when you check it, it's going to guide you on how you can download it and install it on your laptop. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. VS Code is mostly used for software people, especially web, mobile, anything regarding software. VS Code is suitable for it. But when it comes to data, the best one that you can use is this Jupyter notebook. And even if you want to use Jupyter notebook in VS Code, you still have to install the ex ten sion. So why the stress? Instead of you just using something that you don't necessarily you don't necessarily need to be installing, or you don't need to be downloading and installing ex ten sion here and there. So in terms of single quote and double quote, they are the same. It's just like an option. So you can choose to use single quote, and you can also choose to use double quote. So using single quote and double quote is the same thing. So two of them are performing the same function. The only issue is if you open a text with a double quote and you are closing it with a single quote, it's going to result to an error. But when you are starting with open double quote, you must end it with double quote, and if you are starting with single quote, you must end it with single quote. Two of them work the same way. It's just like an option. You can choose to use single, and you can also choose to use double quotation mark. So I believe I'm able to answer that question. So I think if there's no question, I'm going to find ways of like sharing this document to us. So in case we want to practice them, and you can also reward the video and just try to practice along. So I think this is where I'm going to be stopping. If there's okay, what about the Anaconda? I've shared the video to install and download Anaconda on the Telegram group. We can just go there and check the video and just watch and download so that you can use it. This is what I'm using here. I'm using Jupyter Notebook from Anaconda. So I have to download the Anaconda from Anaconda. I have access to Jupyter Notebook. So if you follow the video I sent, I think you should be able to download and install it. So the first one you did, you use okay, you use input, but now you are using print. What is the difference? What input you use, like the basic function of input is by asking you a question. So if we are using input is going to ask me a question just like now. Let me try to use an example. I want to use an example here. So I can just say name equals to, okay, if I said name equals to input, then I said enter your name, then I'm using print name. So once I run, it's going to ask me question by itself, just, and the reason why it's asking me question is because I'm using input. So after typing, I'm just going to type it and press enter. Now you can see that it display my name here. But if I just want to do it without using input, I'm just going to see say okay, name equals to, so if I run this now, the two of them are achieving the same thing. They are doing the same thing. So this one here is showing name equals to input, enter your name, and I'm able to print the name, which is enter your name, which is Abayomi. Then the second one, name equals to Abayomi, then print. So this one is the same. It's just like the way we write them givers. And most of the time, as time goes on, you may be interested in using input instead of just doing it this way. But they are still the same. There's no real difference. Can you share the Jupyter notebook you use in class today with us? I'm going to share it, but I may not be able to share it now. So because of a reason, I have to convert it to PDF so that it will be accessible to everybody. And I can't do that tonight. But I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. If I can do it tonight, I'm going to share. So I think that's all. If you have a question, you can just ask me on the group, on the Telegram group. I'm going to respond to them. So good night, everyone.